everybody, my name is Victoria. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm really excited to talk about how my reading went in the year 2020 and also do some goal setting and talk about what we want to do next. I'm going to start this video talking about my reading stats, my accomplishments, my failures, some goals also that I set for myself in the beginning of 2020 that I met or did not meet. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So jumping right into the stats, I read 51 books in the year 2020. This is actually down from 2019. 2019, I think I read 58 books, and this year I read 51. A big part of that is because the books that I did read were monstrously long in 2020. Reading through the Stormlight archives definitely affected that number. Also read some pretty chunky classics. The number itself doesn't matter. As long as I'm enjoying what I'm reading, that's all I really care about. Before I started a booktube channel, I read, honestly, barely anything. It was very inconsistent from year to year. So just the fact that I did read 50 books is an accomplishment. I know it's not as much as everybody reads around here. I'm probably on the lower side for reading pace compared to other booktubers, but for me, this is great. 51 books, I'll take it. The average book size that I was reading was averaging 423 pages, so that makes sense. A little bit of bigger, chunkier books. Total pages read in 2020 was 21,158. I read from a total of 7 different genres. This was actually a bit narrower than I have done in the past. I haven't read from as many different genres as I would like to. I would really like to expand that a little bit more going forward. But the 7 genres that I read from were fantasy, which was 49% of my reading, classics, which was about 30% of my reading, and then a sprinkling of some other genres at like 6%, 4%, 2%. In the 6%, we have nonfiction and contemporary, and then we have manga / graphic novels and thriller mysteries. Not very many of those. And then we have historical fiction, which I only read 1 historical fiction book this year. I would really like to change that going forward. I do have some plans to read some historical fiction in 2021, so excited about that. 52% of what I read was adult books, with YA coming at 37% and then middle grade at 9%. My most read author this year was Brandon Sanderson. You probably could guess that if you've been following my channel at all. I finished 10 books by Brandon Sanderson in 2020. This was definitely the year of Sanderson for me. It would be 11 if I finished Rhythm of War, but it's not looking like I'm going to finish Rhythm of War this month, sadly. So almost 11 books, but 10 books total by Brandon Sanderson. That is so crazy. I don't think I've ever had a year where I've read that much of just one author. Out of all of the authors that I read, 19 of them were new to me authors, and then I reread a total of 9 books this year. I had actually wanted to reread 12 books this year, so that fell short a little bit, but that's okay. So let's run down through my 2020 goals. Did I meet them? Did I not? It's kind of half and half, to be honest. So my first goal was to read 55 books in 2020. We did not hit that. We read 51 instead. I think, though, if I hadn't read as many big chunky books, I definitely would have hit 55, but 51, so didn't quite match that. I actually, about 3/4 of the way through the year, I changed my Goodreads goal to 50 books because I knew I wasn't going to hit 55. So going forward into 2021, I might make my standard just 50 books and just call it and not try to like push that number, because it seems like 50 is probably an attainable goal. It's probably a sweet spot for me, so maybe we'll just leave it at 50. My next goal for 2020 was to reread The Lord of the Rings and the Harry Potter series. I only half did this. I reread The Lord of the Rings, which was a fantastic reread experience, and I'm so glad that I did it. I only reread 2 Harry Potter books. I reread The Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets, and I didn't continue. So going forward, I'm definitely going to make that a goal to finish that reread in 2021. My third goal was to read the Anne of Green Gables series, which I did complete. Thanks to Tia and Amanda's read-along of the Anne of Green Gables series, I was able to do this. So hooray, we met a goal, finally. And then the last goal that I made for myself in 2020 was quite ridiculous, and we're not doing this again. It was, we're not going to buy any more books in 2020. That didn't happen at all. I definitely bought books in 2020. So I have since revised that whole idea towards buying books because I know I'm going to buy books. I just know I am. But I think I've found a bit of a healthier way to do that with an exercise plan, and for every half hour I exercise, I get $1 towards a book haul eventually. And so that way I get off of my couch and I go exercise and I earn $1 for every half hour that I do. And for me, this has actually helped in two ways. It has helped me get off the couch, and it also is helping me curb my book buying so that I don't just like get a whim to buy books and then buy a bunch. It's just a way for me to budget myself, which weirdly enough, this is working for me. If I set rules for myself, so far I'm following them. So we're just going to keep that going into 2021. All right, let's talk about 2021 goals. I'm going to kind of recap some of the ones that I've mentioned already. My first goal is just to read 50 books. We're just gonna set it there. I think 50 is attainable. I think it's realistic for me, and I just don't really want to rush through books. I want to enjoy what I'm reading. I want to create some space and take the pressure off. Really, 2021 is all about taking the pressure off and reading the books that are on my shelves and enjoying the process, as some of my goals are going to reflect. The next goal I have is to participate in Chantel's Read Through Your Bookshelf Challenge. There's a lovely booktuber. Her name is Chantel at An Intentional Life is her channel, and I have really been enjoying her videos. She is doing this read along throughout the year, and each month she has a different prompt for you to read a book that you own, and that book is supposed to fit that prompt. I really want to participate every single month. I think that's a brilliant idea, and it'll help me to add maybe a little bit more of a variety into my TBRs. I tend to be pretty rigid in my planning, and I don't necessarily tend to leave room for spontaneity, and I think this will help me just going month to month, deciding on a book that fits the prompt. So I definitely want to participate in this. I will link that down below. She has a blog post with all the prompts. I'll link that, and also her announcement video on that. My next goal is to finish my Harry Potter series reread. I was having a really good time rereading them. I just got sidetracked and derailed by other things. So I do want to continue. I'll have, 4 more books to read, and then I'll finish the reread. Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, no, 5 more books. I can't count. And I'm thinking I'm gonna pick this up again in middle grade March. I'll probably pick up Prisoner of Azkaban because I think it's still technically middle grade by the time it's the 3rd book. I think once you hit the 4th book and beyond, it's definitely YA. But I think book 3 could still be considered middle grade, I hope. So that's my plan, is to pick up that again in middle grade March. Another series that I would like to reread this year is The Inheritance Cycle. I don't know where I put my book copies of that. I moved them somewhere. They're somewhere. But I do own them. I bought the 4th book recently. Well, kind of recently, like a year ago now. But I bought the 4th book because I never actually read the 4th book. But in order to get to the 4th book, I'm going to need to reread the first 3. It's a series that I really did enjoy as a youth when I was of that YA age. Those books were new when I was a kid. So I did read them as they came out. And then for some reason, I think I just aged out of them and I never picked up the 4th book. So I do want to reread Aragon and Elidis and Brazinger, I probably said that wrong, and then get to the last book, which I think is just called Inheritance. Another goal of mine is to start the Wheel of Time series. I have actually read The Eye of the World, but it's been a few years. Ooh, it's been over 5 years. So I'm fuzzy on the plot of the first book. I just need to reread it. I didn't totally love it when I read it, and so I think I just never continued on because I wasn't super interested at the time. But being an older, wiser reader at this point, I'm very curious to pick it up and to continue. Jade from Bedtime Bookworm is hosting this awesome kind of go at your own pace read along of The Wheel of Time. There's a Discord channel if you want to check it out. I'll leave the link for that down below as well. I'm hoping to reread The Eye of the World in February along with Leslie from the Nerdy Narrative, and I think another one of her Patreons was going to do that as well. I think we were going to start it in February. I do want to start this in February and maybe read one of these books every other month, I think is what I'm going to do. I think it'd be nice to have a little brain break in the months in between, just because this is such a big fantasy world. It's a little bit intimidating. I don't want to burn myself out if I just go for like one book a month. I feel like that might be a lot. So I'm going to kind of take my time through this, and we'll see what happens with it. This next goal is kind of a long time coming, but I joined Book of the Month in 2020, and I have accumulated, if you can see, I've accumulated a few of them that I haven't read yet. So one of my goals is to catch up with my Book of the Month books, and also to stay on top of the ones that I receive and to read them very quickly after I get them in the mail. We'll see if that goes according to plan, because so far it hasn't. But I have read the first 3 over here, 1, 2, 3. And then after the Kingdom of Back right here, I haven't read any of these. Oh, I'm knocking them over. So I want to get on top of these. I want to include one of these maybe in my TBR every month. And then hopefully if I get another Book of the Month box, I want to read that in the subsequent month following as well. We will see. I feel like this is maybe one of my more ambitious goals, just because I enjoy buying books, but I can't read them as fast as I buy them. But I have quite a backlog here. We'll see how many I can get through. I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself, but I don't want to have all these pile up. I really don't. I would love to just stay on top of Book of the Month as it comes in the mail. My next goal is just to continue sticking to my exercise and book haul plan. For every 30 minutes I exercise, I get $1. And that has been working really well for me so far in many respects. It's helped me not to just buy books whenever I feel like it. I have to have the right funds in order to buy a book. An exception to that would be gift cards and things like that, because that happened to me over Christmas. I got some gift cards, bought some books, so that's always an exception. But if I just want to buy a book, I need to have the funds from my exercise plan in order to buy that book. This next one is less a goal and more like a general channel change. It's not anything drastic, don't worry. But I have really struggled to figure out how to deal with TBRs. I attempted a seasonal TBR, but I found that that did not work for me at all because I couldn't plan that far ahead. And I ended up way overloading the fall TBR so that it looks to me like I failed that TBR because there were so many books that I didn't get to that I put on the TBR. So instead of doing like 3 months in advance and thinking of it that way, I'm still gonna do monthly TBRs, and I think that's gonna be better for me because it also helps me to feel like I can change the TBR plan. Even if I have an idea of what I might read in the subsequent months, it's definitely nice to have a little room on the TBR to participate in whatever read along that pops up, and things like that. So while I'm gonna go back to doing monthly TBR videos, I'm also going to do recent reads wrap-ups rather than monthly wrap-ups, because I always feel guilty if I have a bad month. If I read like, I don't know, 2 or 3 books in a month and then I end up feeling bad for some reason. I don't know. It doesn't make sense, guys. I don't pretend to understand the psychology of it, but it's how it is. So instead I'm going to do recent reads wrap-up. So I'm going to do like 9 or 10 books in a wrap-up, or whatever. I don't know how many I'm going to do. I just made that number up right now, but I'm going to do recent reads rather than monthly wrap-ups. And I think that'll just let me feel like I have a little more breathing room so that even if I set a TBR a little ambitiously, I won't have to feel guilty if I'm like, oh, I didn't read any of these books. The next goal I have is to make a 21 backlist video of backlist books that I want to read that I have on my shelves, and then hopefully stick to them. We'll see. I did this last year too. I made a 20 books I want to read in 2020, and I think I read less than half of them. I kind of want to try again and see if I can do it. We're gonna maybe film that soon. I haven't filmed that video yet, but I would really like to just work through my physical TBR a lot more. I have a lot of books, guys, that are unread, at least 100. So that might be an interesting video also, to show you all of the unread books that I own. So now I'm just getting video ideas. But anyways, I would love to do a 21 backlist books for 2021 and be kind of a stickler for sticking to that list. We'll see. And my last goal for 2021 is just to continue to enjoy being part of this community and to participate in read-alongs and just stay on top of interacting with you lovely people. It is the best part of this, is interacting with everybody. I already have some fun, exciting plans for co-hosting a few read-alongs, as well as maybe hosting one of my own. So stay tuned for that. It's still in the works, but I just want to have fun. This is one of my favorite hobbies that I do. It is really different from other hobbies that I have, and I just want to foster this and continue to make friends here and make connections with you guys. My reading life has never been better, and I just want to keep that going. So I know that's not really a goal. It's more like a reflective resolution. I don't know. Those are all of my reading goals and reading stats. I hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to know down in the comments some of your 2021 reading plans. Have you kind of formulated a plan? Do you have some specific goals? Drop some in the comments down below, because maybe it'll inspire me as well. Thank you so much for watching my video today. Please subscribe if you want to keep up with my bookish journey. You can also follow me on my Bookstagram account. So if you want to connect with me there, my Instagram is down below. Also my Goodreads. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season and getting into the new year. I hope you have some wonderful goals and that you feel happy and safe and loved in this strange time of 2020. Aren't we all glad that 2020 is coming to an end? I know it has been rough for everyone and so many people in so many different ways, but I personally am feeling just very blessed and blessed by this community. And so I thank you for being here and for being on this weird book journey with me and for watching my videos for the past year. Some of you have been here longer than that. I really appreciate you guys so much, and I just feel all the warm and fuzzies for this community. Heart. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you are in the world. Keep reading great books, and until next time, bye-bye.